Hello, I'm Dane Fichter, and I'm in grade 11, and I'm going to be interviewing my grandfather, Richard Edwards. Okay, so what was your typical school day like?
Oh, it was interesting, let's put it that way. My first day at school was, my teacher was Archie Peary. Some of the people would know him. And he started out by asking me my name, and I said, Dick Richard Floyd Edwards. Well, that was kind of funny. At least he thought it was. I didn't think it was funny. He said, how far do you live from school? I said, 2.5 3/4 miles. I didn't know my fractions very good. So that's how it started. And then it went from reading, writing, and arithmetic, and from there on, yeah. Everything else was pretty simple. I was too.
So where did you go to school?
I started at Mountain Chase, at a little one-room school out in, it'd be kind of like straight east of Duval, on the other side of the hills. Yeah, it was just a little one-room schoolhouse, and kids from grade 1 to 8. No kindergarten and no high school. So it was different, interesting.
And so did you go all the way to grade 12? Or did
No, you
just go-
couldn't. You couldn't. You could take it by correspondence, but it wasn't very satisfactory. The teacher that was there had to help you a bit with it, but it was really, you got your stuff by mail. Your homework and your essays and whatever. You could do it, but it wasn't easy. But no, most of the kids had to quit in grade 8, or they went to town to go to high school. That's what a lot of them did, and I did.
So who was your biggest influence growing up?
I think my dad was, probably. Yeah, he was, my dad never had any formal education. He might have had like a grade school stuff, but he was wise. And wise is sometimes better than smart. So, yeah, he was, I can remember during the war, he would sit and listen to the radio. And the radio would be the news from the war, from the front. Most times not too good. And he was always kind of interested, because he was originally from England, and the bombers from Germany and France were coming across the White Cliffs of Dover into England and bombing London. And once in a while their German bombers would get hit and get kind of knocked out and killed her, so they'd turn around and go back. But before they did that, they would dump their bombs. And my grandmother lived in the south of England, and she sometimes had bombs landing pretty close to her house. Bombs that were meant for London, but they never made it that far. So he was pretty interested, because he was wondering how his mother was doing, naturally. And he taught me my first song, which was The White Cliffs of Dover, which they lived not far from. Hey? I'll sing a little bit, a couple of tunes. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see. There'll be love and laughter and peace ever after. Tomorrow, when the world is free.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And so you said your dad was from England.
Yeah.
When did he come here?
He came in 1922. And he came to the Sorensen farm east of Duval, and he married a Sorensen daughter. That was my mom. Yeah, so he was an Englishman.
And so what kind of things did you do for fun when you were younger?
Didn't have any. No, we did, I don't know, we played some ball, I guess, and did some skiing behind the horses in the sleighs and on big ropes, like you would water ski on a rope. This was only on snow, and it was quite an episode. Some pretty wild spills. And if we could get somebody to drive the horses while we were skiing. And my little brother, Jerry, we tried to get him to drive the horses. He wanted to ski. One day he got mad and he started to run away. He said, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to sleep with the skunks," he said. And he came back and he smells okay, so we carried on. But that's, you know, other than that, you know, when we came home, we did the same thing again on horseback. In the summertime, it was ball and swimming. Went to the dugout and swam. If you could get the pollywogs out of the road. Yeah, it was quite different. Nobody ever worried about us either. We'd go to the dugout and we'd come back a couple of days or a couple of hours later and someone would say, "Well, we were swimming in the dugout." Dugout was 12 feet deep. So probably shouldn't have been there at all, but nobody worried about it. Pretty self-sufficient when you're a farm kid.
So do you think your parents struggled to make ends meet, or were they relatively okay?
Oh, yeah, it was a struggle. Well, us kids never knew it because we were too young to understand what was going on, but the war and the 30s came along both at the same time. So it was there was a drought and the war, and everything happened at once, and it was tough going. I can remember that, like, everything was rationed during the war. So they would, you had got little books of coupons, and those coupons you could trade them for like things like sugar and beer and cigarettes and all that. And you'd be surprised how many people started smoking and drinking there because these tickets were so valuable. They thought they must be able to use them. But they used them. People started drinking beer and smoking cigarettes. A lot of people started smoking during the war. And a lot of people never quit yet, some of them. So, yeah, and Mom spent a lot of time remaking clothes, cutting, she'd get clothes from some of my uncles that were kind of growing out of them, and she'd redo them, cut them down, and resew them, and it went very fancy, but that's what it was. That's how you done things. Everybody done. Everybody had a Singer sewing machine because that was standard procedure. And other than that, there was, Dad grew a big garden, so we ate a lot of vegetables. And, although when the drought, we had to haul water from the dugout in the barrels and put it on the vegetables, so full-time job. And I volunteered. I wouldn't say volunteered is a good word. I was told to do it.
So you mostly worked with your dad on the farm?
Yeah, we did.
You didn't have much of any other job?
No, I worked on the farm. We were seeding and harrowing and spraying and then swathing and then combining or thrashing with thrash machines. So it was a full year-round job. And you had to make some feed sheaves and stuff for the horses and the cattle in the wintertime. Like Eddie Brown told me a story one time. He was driving north of town here, and here was these two old guys in the ditch cutting hay with the horses, with, 2 horses on a mower. And he said, and he knew they didn't have any cattle. So he said, "Why are you cutting hay?" "Well, we're cutting it for the horses." "Well, why are you cutting it for the horses? We don't have any cattle." "Well, we need the horses to cut the hay." It makes sense to them.
So what is your earliest memory?
Oh, probably, Oh, I can tell you a story that you probably heard it. You have, anyhow. When I was about 12 or 13 years old, it was in the spring, it was in June, and the new gophers, young baby gophers were just coming out. It's time to go, I thought to myself, it's time I went and snared some gophers. But it was a school day, so I all of a sudden developed this pain in my side. Mom, I think I'm going to have some kind of attack. I better stay home from school. Oh, okay. So the minute the kids were gone, the rest of them, I was out of the house and down to the pasture with a piece of twine to start snaring gophers. And I was, I don't even know where the hole, waiting for this gopher to come up. And my uncle drove by. And he went in seeing my mom, and he said, "What's the matter with Dick? How come he's not in school?" He's got pain in his side. It said, I saw him out in the pasture and he's all doubled over. Well, yeah, I was doubled over. Over the hole catching gophers. But that part of the story never got told till years later. So they got Dad out of the field and they rushed me to the hospital and they took my appendix out. And I can remember the old doctor saying, "You just got him here in time." Well, he should have taken the hypocrite's oath. So I tell the kids I still tell them, grandkids and great-grandchildren, don't play hooky from school unless you're prepared to lose some time. Sometimes these old doctors, they got a family member that needs a transplant, and they'll take whatever they need. So you gotta be careful. You don't believe that story, do you? Not many people do. Just happens to be true. I tell a few true ones.
I'm sure you do. So, what's your favorite memory?
Well, like I say, that favorite memory is probably Dad teaching me how to sing White Cliffs of Dover. Stuck with me. And then the woman that made it famous, I can't think of her name now off the top of my head. She just died here a week or so ago. And she had she sang it on the radio before this newscast. I was going to mention that newscast, get back to that a bit again. The announcer was Lauren Green. If you would know who Lauren Green is, these guys, most of these kids wouldn't. He was Ben Cartwright on Bonanza. It was a long-running show, a series. And he had a real deep voice, if people that remember it. So Dad, and a lot of people did, they called him the voice of doom because he had such bad news most of the time when he announced it in the war. So I can remember Dad listening to that radio pretty intently. It wasn't good. But Dad was born and raised not far from the White Cliffs of Dover. That's why he latched onto the song. It was one of his favorite songs. The war was bad. A lot of guys didn't make it. A lot of guys didn't come back. I was just talking to, I don't know if Vicky Gucci's coming in or not, but he lost a couple of brothers, I think, to the war. Yeah, so you're doing pretty good so far. You're hearing a lot of malarkey. I wrote a little book, and on the very first page that said, "This book is fiction, fantasy, falsehoods, and fun." And it was mostly stories like I'm telling you. Most of them are true, but they were colored. You colored them a bit, make them readable.
Would you like to share one of those stories?
Well, I think I did.
Any more of your favorites?
No, I can't think of any more. Off the top of my head. Top of my head was getting kind of skinny too.
Thank you, Grandpa, for doing this. It was wonderful.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.